What is up? It is Marksman, and in today's video we're going to break down how you can make amazing organic melodic house and techno, or organic house, whatever you want to call it, using organic instrumentation, create some really incredible harmonies and melodies using some very cool scales and functions. By breaking down my track Close Your Eyes with Stranger Suma, before we jump into Ableton, please do hit that like and subscribe. I see that some of you still aren't subscribed just yet. I don't know why, because I made the best content ever, but it costs you literally nothing and it takes 2 seconds. The buttons are right there. Please press them. Help me out. Do me a solid. You won't regret it. Lots more weekly content to come. Now, let's jump into Ableton. Okay, here we are in Ableton. It's the unmastered version, so you can hear me talk over a lot easier. Let's give it a little listen from here. Got some amazing vocals from a singer called Nucad, who is Morocco-based, and a lot of organic instrumentation, both with live instruments or emulations of live instruments, and lots of drum textures as well to really give it that organic but mysterious feel. But there's a lot more to it than that, especially the harmonies we have used. So we'll jump into all of that in due course. So let's just break down what we've got. Quite a complicated project. Let's start with the kick. We got some tom action as well, which are already adding some organic layers to it. Then we've got these bit more classic percussion, and then some more organic percussion here. Shakers and other interesting percussion sounds. We've got this top loop, and we also have some extra loops just like really far back in the mix, but it sounds like this. So like a really groovy and interesting organic percussion section here, which is very cool. Now the bass section, we have quite a few sounds to go with so far. So one of the main sounds here is this one which I've called Bass Absolute Filth, which sounds like this. And yep, that's pretty damn dirty. We also have a long continuous bass, which is compressed to hell here at the moment, but it sounds like this. Which is playing along with the chord progression here in a Phrygian, which is a mode. If you don't know about the Phrygian mode, I've actually done a video on it right here, so go check that out if you want to learn, and maybe go bone up on your music theory. Very important stuff. But this is actually in a slight variant of the Phrygian mode. This is in the Phrygian dominant. Well, technically, I suppose, we actually interchange between normal Phrygian and Phrygian dominant. So you might be thinking, what the hell am I talking about? Well, if you know the rules of theory, you know when to use it and when to break it, which is an example of what we've done in this track. So I'll explain a little bit more about that in a sec when we get to the important parts. But we have a main rhythmic bass line here, which sounds like this. Just a nice big fat sound. So all in all, it's a very groovy track and all the elements work together very well, especially the bass and the drums. There's also this dirty, this was meant to be dirty stab, but I've called it dirty stav, a classic misspell, but I thought it sounded funny just to leave it as is. It's a bit quiet in the mix, but it sounds like this, with a big delay on it, so it's quite subtle, but it sounds pretty cool. Then we had this sound, which is actually not present in the original, because this is a collaboration between myself and Stranger Suma. So she lives in Morocco. She's a really great producer. Go check her out. Give her some love. So I sent this original version over with this lead part, which I made using this sound. So it sounds like this all in all. So I believe that's using what's called a shamisen, which is kind of sounds like kind of like a sitar-y Indian-y sound. And it sounded okay, but Suma actually came back to me with a real a qanun, I believe it's called, and it sounds way better because this was all programmed with MIDI, whereas she's taken this and played it live. So this sounds even better. The perks of using real instruments. So check how this sounds. So I think it's playing a little bit more over here. There's just a lot more detail. It sounds awesome here as well. There's quite a lot of reverb, as you can hear. But because this was played on a real instrument and it's been processed with a lot of reverb, it sounds so much more better and at home. So what I would say, if you can take something away from this video, is if you are going to try and go for this style, try find a really, really good sample of a live person playing rather than programming it, or even better, collaborate with someone that can play such an instrument, and there are many benefits to doing this. Moving on, there's also this Moody Pad sound, which sounds like this, which is playing this kind of riff here, which is very Phrygian, playing the 1 and the 2 of the Phrygian scale, and getting a little bit more crazy, but this is just adding a bit of atmosphere. So let's listen to everything we got so far at the moment. And then I also have this key sound, which sounds like this. Then we also have this pluck here, which sounds like this. It's like a trippy up sound. It's very distant in the background and comes in and out of the song here and there. Combined with this, so these stabs are really interesting in terms of the chord progression. So if we listen to these in isolation, oh yeah, there's also these stabs, but listen to these in isolation. These little power chord stabs. So during this chord progression, it's following the root note, but then the harmonies slightly change. So it goes from Phrygian to Phrygian dominant. So the first chord then becomes major. So listen here. I'll point it out when it happens. That's normal. Next one. That chord there. So that's really interesting and unorthodox to do. So there's a transition between what you would expect to be a minor, but then the major chord comes in, especially the root note. You're expecting that to be home. But what's interesting about using the Phrygian scale is you can kind of blend between the two and create this interesting sense of a major feel and more bright rather than going dark. You can use it interchangeably. This is a very different example, but people who did this very well is Linkin Park. Like a lot of their songs, it has that minor dark feel, but then the top line that Chester's singing then has like a major note, a major third. Songs like Somewhere I Belong, where it goes, I wanna feel, I wanna close to some, I wanna let go of the pain I had go on. That's like the minor version. And then the second time he does it, does the major version, and that becomes really interesting. It's like, whoa, that was unexpected. So once you get the roots of music theory, and once you understand the basics of music theory, you can start interchanging things. And this is where you can have a lot of fun and create very interesting music. Linkin Park do it quite a lot in their music, and also they're great. Shout out Linkin Park for those teenage angsty years. That's what we've done, and that's what makes it really cool. And finally, we have the awesome vocals of Nucad. It sounds like this. So something really interesting about her voice is she just recorded this singing it into her iPhone. That's how good she is. And it sounded so good, that take, we just used that. So it just goes to show, it doesn't matter what you have, it's how you use it. That was very impressive, and I heard her voice, I was like, I can't believe this is you singing into an iPhone, when people, can record on the most expensive gear in the world, and it still sounds bad. So anywho. So gracefully
lost your way.
So again, like the vocal here does that thing where you're expecting it to be minor, but then lost your way, it goes major. Adds that interesting flavor, and you'll notice this quite a lot in music that has quite a lot of Arabic influence, or around the Eastern Mediterranean and around that kind of area of the Middle East. Sounds really, really interesting, and they use a lot of these harmonies. Stranger Suma and Nukad are from Morocco. Very, very cool. And of course we have all the effects as well at the end. But that's mostly it in terms of the breakdown. It is quite a complicated track, as you can see. There's a lot of elements going on, but they all kind of just work together. In terms of the arrangement, we bring in the vocals slowly with some like ad-libs. Just so this is towards the start, just so people know that, oh, the vocals are coming, so I should probably keep listening because this sounds cool. Or I like vocal songs, which is a good tip you can use. Like if you have a vocal song and you're going to bring the main vocals come in later, throw in a little ad lib just so people know that something is going to come in the future, and it'll keep them listening for longer. You can also use this for your lead sounds as well. So say, for example, our main lead sound, if you're using a synth lead rather than a vocal top line, you could introduce stripped back versions of this lead, which I've done in my track Warp Speed, which I'll show you this in another video. I use this exact same technique. You introduce the synth lead, or at least some like the main top line, a little bit somehow, just a little snippet, so that people do keep listening throughout. Very important technique. So that's about it to the track. I wouldn't say the arrangement is crazy complicated. A lot of vocals and a lot of instruments, but we introduce them slowly over time, and it all just kind of works well. So similarly, we're introducing the this new lead sound just sporadically throughout the track here. Just here for the first time you hear it. It's a very cool track all in all. So yeah, I recommend going to listen to the full thing if you're watching this after the 28th of April. Link is in the description. If you're watching this before, you can listen to it right now. If you pre-save it using that same link, it will take you to a private SoundCloud page immediately after you pre-save it on Spotify or Apple Music, and you can listen to the full EP. There's 2 tracks, The Storm and Close Your Eyes, this one. So you can listen to both of them right now using that link. So go do that right now, and hope you enjoy. So that does it for the track breakdown. We learn how to interchange between major and minor in the Phrygian using the Phrygian dominant interchangeably. It's a very interesting technique that you can use, a little bit more of the advanced side, but that's what we're here for at Marksman Music Academy. We're here to learn the advanced stuff that will take your music to that next level so that you can stand above the rest rather than just sound like everyone else or be at the same standard as everyone else. Please do remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of these amazing tips. The button's right there. It takes you 2 seconds, if that, and it will really help me out. If you need some extra help taking your music to that next level and really want to stand out from the crowd and want to work with me directly, you'd be a great fit for my music production program, where we learn how to produce melodic house and techno in all variants from scratch using techniques that I use every day to make my music stand out from everyone else out there. It's very important to focus on the little details, but you also need to know the important stuff as well. We cover all of this in exquisite detail, plus also how to promote your music in the right way so people will actually listen to it and you don't annoy them by spamming them with links. We definitely don't want that. Plus also get you signed to labels, so if you really want to release on a dream label, you either don't know where to start or they've never responded to you ever, then we need to fix this. I can show you a way where you can always get a response to them, whether that's a yes or a no, but they will give you feedback so you can action it for next time. If you want to learn more about this, drop a comment production program below and I'll send you more details. Plus, feel free to drop a comment below on anything you'd like a video tutorial on, because I do love content ideas. It really helps me out. Plus, I'm here to serve you. So whatever you're struggling with, put that in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Happy producing. Go check out the track. Link is in the description. And also don't forget to join my free Facebook producer group. The link is also in the description as well. Happy producing. See you next time.